condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man will go nuts if he can't shoot. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
Queen.
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Amadeus.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Amadeus.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queens.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Amadeus.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Amadeus.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Amadeus.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Amadeus.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Amadeus Shakur Show. I'm your host, Queen Amadeus Shakur, and this is your Daily Vitamins. So as you can see, I have some guests here. We're having a panel discussion. We have Lisa Cabrera and our own OG Patrice. Okay, so we're going to be talking about, how things have fared since the 1995 Million Man March. It's 30 years since. Okay, the anniversary was officially October the 16th of this year. And we're just going to talk about our thoughts and views on how things have progressed or whether they have, we've regressed. And basically how we think things are going. And we're also going to talk about Trump's going to have to go ahead and pay the funding for the SNAP benefits out of the contingency a judge just ordered him to do so. Okay, so with that all being said, everybody hit that like button. Okay, Jarnicia's here, Ray Johnson's in the house, Juju, G from the land, Just Anticipate, Troy Parker. All right, Seeking Wisdom, Earthbound is here, Buckhorst DC, Andrea, Chosen One Indeed, Claudette, Mel, Goodness Rated Bo. Okay, Repentant Judah. All right, so shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. A big shout out to my moderators for putting in work. I see you, Desmond and Christopher. Okay, so with that all been said, let's have a brief word from my sponsor. I see you, Andrea, at 12 Tribes, and then we'll get into it.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. And she also sells beard oil. Okay, and so with that all being said, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so you all put some fire emojis in the chat for Lisa and OG Patrice. Thank you in advance. Okay, so we're going to be talking about now. First off, the purpose of the 1995 Million Man March was to promote unity, responsibility, and empowerment among African American men. Okay, calling for atonement and reconciliation. And of course, it was organized by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And this was basically for them to take personal responsibility for their communities, families, themselves, and also to try to get rid of negative stereotypes. Okay, and address issues. They also address issues like systemic racism and economic inequality. Okay, so I think we're gonna start with OG Patrice, and then we'll go to Lisa, and then I'll say what I think. Um, Hold on, before we do all of that, I have a video. Hold on, let me just pull this video up, and then we'll get into the discussion.
History.
Black history.
These images aren't AI. On October 16, 1995, 1 million black men gathered on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. for an historic day of unity and atonement. They came by plane, train, bus from all over the country.
San Francisco.
Fairbanks, Alaska.
What prompted you to get on a bus and sit for 13 hours to come to Washington, D.C. today?
Well, I came out because of the unity for black men.
What do you hope to take away from this?
Well, I hope to take back to home where I come from, the spirit of 1 million men out here.
While some predicted violence, there wasn't any. The Million Man March was full of speeches by various social and political leaders who urged black men to live their lives in a righteous way. Among the speakers that day, Maya Angelou, Rosa Parks, Stevie Wonder, and organizer Louis Farrakhan.
As an African-American woman, I am proud, applaud, and support our men in this assemblage.
The ancestors remind us, despite the history of pain, we are going on people who will rise again, and still we rise. All for one for all.
Clean up, black man, and the world will respect and honor you.
Even the Bloods and the Crips came together at the Million Man March to preach unity.
Killing black brothers, it ain't gonna happen no more. We're tired of the killing. It's gonna stop, it will stop, and it must stop.
Black men, I come to you with much love. As we brothers on the West Coast made peace, me, myself, I was taking lives, but now I'm saving lives.
30 years ago, men, women, and children came together in Washington, D.C., not for fame, not for money, but for unity. The Million Man March was more than a gathering. It was a call to rise, rebuild, and reclaim pride in our communities. And now, 30 years later, that same spirit walks through the heart of Philadelphia, a city built on revolution, still standing for change. You can feel it in the drums, in the chants, in the faces of a new generation carrying the same message forward. This anniversary isn't just a reflection of the past. It's a reminder of how far we've come and how far we still must go. Every step, every voice, every raised fist is proof that the message didn't die in '95. It evolved. The march continues through fathers teaching sons, through mothers guiding daughters, through communities uniting for justice, equality, and peace. Philadelphia showed up today not just to remember, but to remind the world that the dream still lives here. Because the Million Man March was never just a moment. It was a movement. And today, that movement still marches on.
Every time look at a sex game, my kick, the words, my faith, can't even only be money saves. It's like an earthquake, I'm calling you out. Creed of constant, this kid above the bound. Such an awesome place, just a more for all. I hate keep marching on. Queen royals, we own the throne. Through highs and lows, we stand strong. By haters, we've heard it all before. We'll keep shining while you walk out the door.
Right. So now, with that all being said, those were a lot of dedicated people riding on buses for 13 hours, flying in from different places. There were even people there from Alaska, all over the United States. So the question is, has anything changed, and if so, what? And how far have we come? Have we moved the needle? OG Patrice, what do you have to say about it?
How you doing, Queen? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. Thank you for having me, and thank you for allowing this discussion to happen. I want to say hey out to the Laurels in the chat, and I'm very excited, right, to have this discussion because
Hold on one moment, beloved. I'm sorry, my bad. Alejandro, thank you for your contribution to the channel, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. And also, you all please shout out DSB. DSB gifted 7 memberships to the channel. Thank you, DSB. I really appreciate you, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, and so with that all being said, you all shout him out. Okay, now continue.
Yeah. So to answer the question, I have mixed feelings, right? I'm more decisive about it than not, because I see more of the opposite of what was happening in that moment. So I watched it again on the anniversary, and it got me to thinking and inspired me to again to want to have this conversation, because I think that some points that was promised in the pledge with Minister Louis Farrakhan to Black men, I think some of it in some areas was upheld, but then I think a lot of it was not. So I'm kind of indecisive in my opinion about it, but I want to put the disclaimer out there. When I say us or we, I don't mean everybody if it does not apply to you. So don't take it personal. If it don't apply, just let it fly.
Right. Yeah, we get what you're saying. Okay, and Lisa, what are your thoughts? Lisa, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you were muted. Go ahead, beloved. I just want to know what your thoughts are on it.
Well, when I first heard about the Million Man March, I thought the whole concept was excellent. And, it's rare that you get our men together in one place like that from all over the country. So that really was a beautiful thing. And I
Right.
was working in corporate America back then. And I remember the white folk were saying, oh, they're going to leave trash all over the place. You know how they talk about us. Oh, it's going to be fights. All those Black men together, they're going to be fighting. It was no fighting. And they took all the trash with them. Do y'all remember
Right.
that? They took all the trash with them. In fact, the National Park Service that do the cleanup said they didn't have to clean nothing up after they left. And, there are some areas of improvement, in my opinion. And some will say we kind of drifted further apart. I think especially in issues between men and women, I think we have not come a long way in that area. We haven't.
I would agree to that, Miss Lisa.
I think a lot of it has to do with gender politics too.
Well,
And
a lot of it is outside
And I think-
instigation too.
Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about, Lisa. Outside influences. When I say gender politics, that's what I'm talking about. People pushing certain narratives to try to sow seeds of discord, in my opinion. One thing I will say is, okay, so
Absolutely.
the homicide rate. I'm sorry, say what now?
Mm-hmm.
Did you say something, OG Patrice?
No, I'm agreeing with what you're saying.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say
Can
something.
you hear me?
Okay, so yeah, I can hear you. Okay, so in 1995, the homicide rate among Black men was significantly higher than other groups. Now, the exact figures vary from source and age group, of course. Some data indicates that for Black men aged 10 to 34, why would they say 10 is Black man? That's ridiculous. But anyway, that's what they have. The homicide rate was almost 12 times greater than for white men in the same group. And that's according to ResearchGate. Okay, another source notes that 10,400 Black people were murdered in 1995, which was the peak of that decade. Now, in 1995, the homicide rate for Black men aged 10 to 34, again, nearly 12 times higher than the same bracket for white men. The homicide rate among Black men was the highest during the mid 1990s. Okay, a period that also marked a peak in the national crime rate. So the Million Man March was absolutely needed then, because we had like the highest crime rate than any other period, okay, during the mid 90s. Now, do you all think that that was possibly due to the illegal substances that were being sold on the streets? Because that's what I would think. If I just had to guess, it was likely due to that, in my opinion, or a majority of it.
The crack epidemic was still going on during that time.
Exactly. So I think that accounts for a lot of it. And then the gangs, of course, they were out of pocket back then too. So now it says an August 2025 analysis by Everytown Research, based on the 2024 data from the FBI, from cities with populations over 65,000, reported a gun homicide rate of 23.6 per 100,000 for Black people. Now, while this 2024 figure is for all Black people, not just men, it indicates a significant decrease compared to the mid 1990s rate for Black men. Okay, so that is saying that basically, the homicide rate amongst Black men has gone down. And I do recall reading that from 1994 to 2013, like the decade right after or matter of fact, 2 decades right after the march, the homicide rate had decreased significantly, as well as the number of arrests of Black men specifically. But the thing that we're still fighting, in my opinion, they talked about the racial inequality as far as economic inequality with jobs and things like that, and the pay from said jobs. Those things, and systemic racism, those things have not gotten any better, in my opinion. I think that they're probably still just the same.
You know
what do you think about that, OG Patrice? Or I'm sorry, go ahead, Lisa.
No, please go ahead, OG Patrice.
Yeah, I agree with that, Queen, because I believe that when it comes to, of course, our judicial system, with the privatization of prisons, mass media, legislation, and systemic racism is still, is the major part of what's plaguing, our people as a whole, right? Did we play some part in it? Absolutely, we did. But when it comes to things that, that specifically that Minister Farrakhan wanted us to not buy into, a lot of us bought into. And he specifically was talking about our Black men. He was specifically talking about the Black artists that was in the music industry, the sports industry. He specifically talked to those men and say not to buy into what those executives and those industries was doing to Black men, kind of taking them away from the culture. And if they spoke out, they threatened to take, the bag from them, the sponsorship. Right. And we see a lot of that happening right today. So his words and a lot of things he said was very prophetic, if that makes sense of what he's saying.
Absolutely, they were.
If we don't change, and that's what the whole thing about atonement and reconciliation, that was the whole reason why he wanted to bring Black men together, because they were the leaders of the communities, the families, and things of that nature. So when he talked as a whole, he was talking to the men that he was supposed to talk to, that were said leaders in our communities and fathers and things of that nature, to go out back into your communities and make a difference. But first, before you do that, you have to atone, and you have to give reconciliation for yourself and for your fellow Black man.
Right. Exactly. Okay, now Lisa, what do you think about it? How we're faring so far?
Actually, and this is just my opinion. I don't want anybody to think I'm, speaking for others, because I'm not. I actually think it got worse. And I think it got worse because of, the back-to-back lynchings we've seen. And and then when we look at the music industry, too many of these young rappers are still dying. It's almost like a week don't go by where we don't hear about one of them, getting pew-pewed out in the street or at some party, or you know what I mean?
Right.
I think too many of our youth are being unalived. And
Yeah.
I think that has gotten worse, in my opinion. As far
I
as the
have to
legal system, it is
Yeah.
what it is. It has never been good. It never will be good for us. It
Mhm.
never will be good for us at all.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
If I
I
could
have to
even
agree.
go as far
I have to
as
agree.
to Minister
I have
Farrakhan
to
was
agree
also.
absolutely. Hold on, OG Patrice. I have to agree with that, Lisa, especially these younger people. I feel like, the younger people are just out here in the streets, just doing all kinds of crazy stuff. You have children, 12 and 13 years old out here now, carjacking and just hanging out with the wrong crowd and all of that. Parents are younger. It seems like the younger parents, not all of them, but some of them are more interested in hanging out in the streets than raising their children. And it's just a whole lot of stereotypical BS is still going on. And
Yeah,
so
well,
I definitely think
it's
that's
plain.
still a problem.
You know what it is, and I please, I get attacked for saying this sometimes, especially around our people. The
Mhm.
problem is, Queen Amadaya, people don't raise their kids like they used to.
No, they
If
don't.
you get up and go to work, really the daycare is raising your child. You're not raising that child. And a lot of these
Mhm.
parents will even tell you, "Oh, I'm tired. When I get home, I'm tired. I don't be bothered with these kids." Well, those are your kids. You're gonna have to be bothered with them. I've heard
Right.
many people around me say that. They get home from work and they don't want to, "I'm tired. I've been working all day. I don't want to be bothered." Well, you gotta be bothered, especially when you have underage children.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
too many
Well,
daycares.
Lisa, that's because a lot of the parents. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh,
Finish.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to elaborate on what you were saying. That's because now in today's world, parents are deciding to let their children's cell phones and computers and games, that they are allowed to play up until all times of the night, all times of the day. Because by the time the parent get home, they're tired, like you say, and they don't even want to be bothered. They just ask that you do your homework and gave as much as they can give to their education. And like I know when I came up, we did is because they're getting addicted to the games. They're getting addicted to the computers. They're getting addicted to, and that's the whole reason why it's called
Right.
Tell a Vision. It's because it's indoctrinating in our young for them to just play games, which a lot of these games are violent, right? When you talk about some of these video games, and allowing them to see things that when I was coming up, we weren't allowed to see on television. And it was like we got a certain age before we can have access to be able to see this or do that or go here or go there. And it's different now because, Queen, you're right. It's a younger generation. And I would like to say a lot of those men out there that brought their sons to the Million Man March, those sons are now parents now. We talking
Right.
30 years. So now those men that brought their sons are the elders, and their sons are the younger generation. And then it just continues to go on. So it's like it failed and missed the mark. It failed and missed the mark in 3 generations. When we talking 30 years, we talking 10, 10, and 10. So you talking 3 decades of degeneracy, of falling into under the spell of the ignorance, and because of what they see on television, reality TV, what they see in the music industry. Minister Louis Farrakhan spoke specifically to the women to tell them they don't have to sell their bodies and sell, you know.
But what I wanted to add to what I wanted to add to what you were saying. I wanted to add something else. You're on the right track, and I just wanted to add one thing.
Do their music. That's exactly what we see. So we're talking from 3 decades, certain areas. I've seen growth in Black. Join an organization, make a difference, you know, become a mentor to someone younger, someone in need. And I didn't see a lot of that. They told them to go back and join, you know, whatever religion organization that you want to be a part of, and be a part of the community down. What we see now going on and what's being exposed with some of these pastors, a lot of those pastors were standing right there behind Minister Louis Farrakhan, and a lot of those speakers and pastors now are in the news, mainstream media, for doing a lot of nefariousness. So again, it's just been a slow progression of degeneracy within the last 3 decades.
And you know what else I think it is? Because they are on computers and on cell phones all day long, I think they have not developed good social skills. Now, with us coming up, we had no choice. You know, computers and cell phones did not come around until I was an adult. So when I was a child, that stuff was not around. So we had social skills. We were always out in the street playing and hanging out with each other. But I notice when you talk to these young people, they don't have the same level of social skills that we did. It's very—
That's because, like, I'm sorry, go ahead, Lisa.
No, go ahead.
Well, I absolutely agree. And that's likely, you know, like OG Patrice was saying, because they're always on these phones and then texting and all of that. And a lot of these kids are coming home to empty houses. The parents are at work and can't afford daycare or afford babysitters. So some of them are there by themselves, you know, and because you have these younger parents, like in their 30s or whatever, and they're having teenagers.
Yeah.
I was raised a latchkey kid, right? Like when I came.
OG Patrice, can you hear?
I was
hold on. OG Patrice, let's not talk over each other.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear
when
we're
you're
talking?
Going in and out? I don't know if it's just me that.
Can you hear me, Lisa?
I can hear you.
Okay. Now, as I was saying, a lot of these younger parents are not doing their jobs, as far as I'm concerned. That's why people are saying, who raised you? Because, like I said, a lot of them want to go out in the clubs partying. They're going on trips. They're doing all kinds of things, and the children are left unattended, and they're not being given the knowledge, you know, that they need to be given as well about their history, their true history, about different things that they need to know. And I just feel like, because of that, and because a lot of these kids hanging out in the streets with the wrong crowd on the corners with the dope boys in the hood and all of that stuff, they're getting caught up with a lot of the crime, because they're just seeing this, you know, perpetuated in their own society. Like, it's not getting any better. It's actually gotten a whole lot worse, because, like I said, you see 12 and 13-year-old kids out here committing crimes now. I report on it all the time. And so I just don't feel like it's gotten any better. I think that we have sunken, it's almost to a whole new low. I mean, the gang activity has amped back up. Now, when they had the Million Man March in 95, they had the Crips and the Bloods there like they were having a truce. And now we have all of this gang activity. We have all of these shootouts, drive-bys, and all these things specifically in places like Chicago. And I just don't think that it's gotten any better. And it's really sad because it was such a pivotal moment in history. You know, something that the people who didn't get to make it still should have been telling their kids about, still should be talking about, you know what I'm saying? But I just think that people didn't instill the values, or the younger generation. I don't think they're instilling the same values and morals into their kids that we had instilled into us.
Right.
Because we
Oh, I
had grandmothers and grandfathers, you know, that
And
would
that's
that would
that
talk to us aside from
yes.
just our own parents. We
There
had
was a
neighbors.
village. There was a village.
Yeah, there was a community that cared. And now people get upset if you say anything to their child. If you see a child doing something wrong, you try to lead them in the right direction, you have parents getting upset. Don't talk to my child. Don't do this, don't do that. And so it's like, it's very hard to put these children on the right path in some cases, especially when the parents are not, you know, trying to do their due diligence.
Right. I definitely agree with that.
Absolutely. I agree. And
Alice says the system. Alice says the system has also taken authority away from the parents.
Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Hold on, OG Patrice, can you not hear me because you keep talking when I'm still talking?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I'm wondering if you can hear me. Okay, let's try not to talk over each other because I was still talking. I was reading a comment from Alice Child. She says the system has also took authority away from the parents. Well, that is a thing too, because, you know, CPS can get involved real quick, even when it's nothing for them to get involved for. You know, you trying to chastise your child. I'm not saying beating them or anything, but when parents chastise their children, sometimes it's a problem and the state gets involved. But then if you don't chastise your children, then they end up in a jail cell. So it's like a catch-22 in some cases. Oh, OG Patrice, you can go ahead, beloved. OG Patrice.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead. You were muted. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my apologies. My apologies because you were going in and out. No, I just wanted to agree with both of you said because I wanted to specifically, you know, pinpoint about the pledge that was promised. Those Black men promised with Minister Louis Farrakhan. The most is when it came to abuse, the abuse of women and the abuse of children. And you see that now more than ever before, where there's abuse.
You really do.
The rise in abuse of women has risen among Black men. I'm sorry. Are you there?
We're listening. We're listening, beloved. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry because you're going in and out. I think it's my end. I may drop down and come back up. But yeah, just, you know, things of that nature I know specifically has rise in our community and our culture. I see it now where more Black men are murking our women, where more men are getting in trouble with abuse of underage children, things of that nature. So specifically some of the things that I was drawn to that I see that I don't see a change in, I see where things have gotten worse in are those things. And amongst you, of course, them, you know, murking amongst each other. And now I even see it more in women. And I've never had seen it in women doing that to each other before. But now those numbers have risen. So things like that, you know, it's to me is where I see there has been no change. And we were told, you know, Minister Farrakhan said, support Black news, support Black TV, Black radio, you know, Black artists, Black content creators, and things of that nature. And I don't know so much. I don't think I think we could do better in those areas as well. Yeah, but the main thing I see is where the abuse levels has arisen in our community and our culture. And that's the sad part.
Yeah. I absolutely have to agree. LeVar says, I saw around 60% of Black people with mental ailments do not receive treatment. Thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. I appreciate you. Now, here's the thing. Speaking of mental ailments, one thing that has improved in our community is our awareness and our attention to mental health issues. That has absolutely gotten better, in my opinion. Now, as far as not receiving treatment, I'm not sure if you're talking about going to therapy, beloved, or taking prescription meds or what have you, but I do believe that we have more people in our community to date that are aware and try to take better care of their mental health, because that was one of the things that they really spoke about then as well. Self-care and making sure your mental is in tune. And I really think that has gotten better, because it's been such a stigma in our community for so long, for decades. People want to just ignore it. They don't want to go and get counseling, don't want to talk about it. It's something that they pretty much would shun. But now I know several people that go and get counseling, go get therapy or whatever. I've actually had an interview with two people on here who were receiving therapy, for their mental health. And so I think that it has gotten better. It's not the best. It could still be better, but it has improved since then, in the last 3 decades, I would absolutely say. What do you think about that, Lisa?
I think there are areas where it improved. The only thing I think our people need to work on is, whenever you're dealing with a crisis, we need to learn how to lean on each other. Our family members need to come together and deal with whoever is problematic, because we know calling the police, they're gonna end up unalive. They ain't trying to understand our mental health issues at all.
Yeah, I agree.
That is the one thing I wish our people would work on. Whenever you got a child or somebody in your house having a crisis, get other family members and yourself and everybody come together and deal with it. But I think we need to just stop calling the police. They don't have our best interests at heart. I have seen it. We've all seen it, where somebody's having a crisis and they'll come out and unalive the person, and sometimes right in front of their families.
Right. Yeah, this is very true. Very true. It's like they don't have the patience, or the consideration or the empathy for people who look like us when they're going through a mental health crisis. We've seen so many bad case scenarios. I'm going to go to this clip when they were showing the Million Man March on NBC.
The heart of the Capitol has been filled today with African American men, a huge crowd, hundreds of thousands, young and old, from all corners of the country, here to participate in ceremonies of celebration, atonement, protest, here to be praised and challenged by Black preachers and politicians, poets and entertainers. At the end of the day, a long, passionate, and confrontational speech from the controversial leader of this march, Minister Louis Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam. Farrakhan spoke beyond this audience, directly challenging President Clinton. We begin tonight with NBC's Robert Hager.
They poured off buses from Baltimore, Richmond, Syracuse, Norfolk, and all across the country. By midday, they filled the Washington Mall, from the U.S. Capitol all the way to the Washington Monument, a stunning sight. They heard from scores of Black leaders and from the poet Maya Angelou. And at day's end, they heard from the man who called them here, Louis Farrakhan.
But the real evil in America is not white flesh or black flesh. The real evil in America is the idea that undergirds the setup of the Western world. And that idea is called white supremacy.
Then Farrakhan talked directly to President Clinton.
We are a wounded people, but we're being healed. But President Clinton, America is also wounded. And there's hostility now in the great divide between the people. Socially, the fabric of America is being torn apart. And it's black against black, black against white, white against white, white against black, yellow against brown, brown against yellow. We are being torn apart. And we can't gloss it over with nice speeches, my dear Mr. President.
Okay,
This
well,
is
that's a good point. All right, so DSB, thank you, beloved. Says Shalom, Queen Lisa, OG Patrice, my warrior queen sisters. Keep up the amazing work, family. Thank you so much, beloved, for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, and thank you for the super sticker donations, beloved. I appreciate you. Okay, you all be sure to shout out Brother DSB. He has gifted $200 in super chats to the channel. Please be sure to show your appreciation. Thank you, beloved. I really, really appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, with that all being said, listen, we still have miles to go before we sleep. Okay, in the words of the great poet Robert Frost, we have a long way to go, because I feel like we are going backwards in some cases. I feel like we're just not progressing like we should. It's like some of our people just don't seem to care. You know what I'm saying? Out here spending money on these name brand things, not trying to acquire any generational wealth, not trying to have funds put aside for a rainy day, just out here trying to keep up with everybody else, keeping up with the Joneses. I mean, I'm not saying all Black people. Of course, we know it's not all of us, but there are a lot of our people that do these things. And it's just ridiculous. How are you ever going to have anything for self when you're just spending all your money, giving it to people, these corporations that don't really care anything about us and who don't contribute anything to our own communities?
I agree with that, Queen. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
I agree with that. And when you said that, you just remind me of how Minister Farrakhan spoke about the Willie Lynch letter. He actually talked about the mentality of our people, and that's been our greatest downfall, where he talked about within our own culture and community. Because I will say this about the minister, that people can say what they want about him. He's been accused, of being, a racist. He's been accused of being all these malice things. But Minister Louis Farrakhan has held his own people accountable first. And that's how you're supposed to do it. That's how you're supposed to fix it within our community. If we can't take and put the mirror up to ourselves, then how are we going to go out into our communities and help our communities? So when he read the Willie Lynch letter and talked about the indoctrination and the mindset and the traditions of our, coming from our ancestors, from that is still a part of the problem of what we engulf in now when it comes to things like colorism, when it comes to things like, status, when it comes to things like wealth and money, how we are divided ourselves. And he talked about the two Americas. We know that what the two Americas was about. We know that was about a one America of where there's one particular race think that they are the ones that's right and should rule to be superior to other races. He said that is the biggest problem that America has. But he also called us out too. Yeah, he called us out as well on our hypocrisy and on our degeneracy. And he called it degeneracy because that's exactly what is happening in some areas in our communities and culture. Is a lot of degeneracy, and it's just the truth. And once we put that mirror up to our own selves and fix our own selves, which was the things he was telling the Black men to do when they go home, back into their homes and their communities, is to be the example, be the leader, join the organization, stop what you're doing, stop putting the illegal substances in our community, stop, doing this and that. And a lot of that is where the problem lies, within ourselves. And I think that there is a lot of, denial. There's a lot of mental illness. There's a lot of hypocrisy in our own communities, and we are guilty of that, ourselves as a whole, because we've become so individualized It's just if and I understand I got to help me first, but then where's the hand extended to help your fellow man or woman? That's where the problem lies. And it's
Yeah,
not
I
all.
absolutely agree.
I'm not saying all. So I had that disclaimer. I'm not saying all, but some.
Right, I absolutely agree. Deandra Mosley says an interesting quote from the master teacher, Dr. John Henry Clark, questioned the Million Man March was an accomplishment, but for who and for what? Thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. DSB, thank you because you are lighting both the channels up with your donations and gifting these memberships. I really, really appreciate you, and I know Lisa does too. Okay, thank you so much for your kindness. Now, with that all being said, the Million Man March was an accomplishment. Yes, it was. For who and for what? It was for Black people, specifically Black men. It accomplished a lot then. Now, that hasn't, those things have basically faded over time, unfortunately, but this is due to the people in our communities who just don't care, who don't want to make atonement, who don't care about making the community better, who are only concerned about themselves. There are a lot of people like that in our community, sadly, that they think for selves and not as a collective. And so we will continue to have more of the same until people get on the bandwagon to realizing that we have to be united. Okay, unity is our biggest problem. A lack of unity, shall I say? We don't have any. Okay, we don't have any unity. I mean, and when we try to, there's always skepticism. There's always some sort of negativity brought about. Even with Black Lives Matter, we have Black Lives Matter out here, acting as advocates for police brutality or against police brutality and all of this. And then to find out they were scamming the community, to find out that they were frauds, okay, that they weren't giving the money to the victims' families, that they were keeping it for themselves to enrich themselves. Greed is a lot of the problem in our community. And then you have these other people that come, other ethnic groups that come into our community and open up businesses, and we're pouring all of our money into them, but not into ourselves, not into our own Black businesses. And then a lot of Black people complain about Black-owned businesses. Okay. And the same complaints that they don't have when they go to Walmart or McDonald's or other places when they have subpar services. Or they want a discount, or they want something given to them for free when they don't try that with other people. So it's to me just like disrespectful. And Reggie said he was disappointed in BLM. Yes, I was too. Okay, I'm disappointed in some of our own people in general for the things that they just won't do. And some people, you can't talk to them. They're just going to, have it their way, period. There's some people going to still stay in gangs. They want to be out here, shooting, killing, and stealing and doing all kinds of nefarious things. You can't talk to them. And even now with the whole SNAP thing that's going on, we're gonna get into that in a second. But even with the whole SNAP thing, you have some of our people sitting there talking about they're gonna go out here and rob and steal and this, that, and the third. And that's so ridiculous that you would be online broadcasting that. If you feel you need to steal to feed yourself to keep from starving, that's one thing, but you're getting on here broadcasting it like you're proud of it. You know what I'm saying? Like this is all you can do. It's just really disheartening as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
Derek says that it was personal between Dr. Clark and Minister Farrakhan. It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Bougie Barbie says Black people were fooled into thinking if things were better because we can buy overpriced foolishness from them, and we're on TV with them, and we were fooled into relaxing. Now that's a thought. I think that some people just relaxed, quite frankly, because I don't think that some people were fooled. Some people may have been fooled, but I think the majority of the people just became complacent. Okay, they just got used to dealing with what they were already dealing with and didn't care to strive for anything better or to try to improve things, and just accepted it for what it is. That's what I think is a lot of our problem in some areas of our community, just complacency.
Right.
Yeah, and also the minister spoke on about the unity part, and he said even with planting that Million Man March, him and Dr. Ben Chavis, who was the director of the Million Man March. He even said that he didn't even care, that he wanted men from all different religions, all different stances to come, because he said if we can agree upon the one thing, and that is unity amongst our people, we can perhaps work out the things we don't agree with. And we know we always say agree to disagree, and we still be okay with each other. But then you had said some of those said people that was up on that platform speaking with him later turned their backs on him. And that is the whole thing he was talking about also with the COINTELPRO amongst our own people. There were people that, of course, that didn't show up, like the CBC, NAACP. I don't know if y'all know that. They didn't want no parts of it, but he still stood tall.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of them did. There was a few Black leaders who didn't want any parts of it. Yeah, they absolutely did.
Yeah, and
I'm sorry, go ahead and finish.
No, I was just going to say, that's our problem too, because that stems down to us. We can not agree on one thing, and the whole thing can go down the wash. But we can watch other people disagree with 99 things. But if they agree with the one thing and stand in unity with the one thing, then they okay. And other communities can do that, and we can't.
Yeah, and it's really sad. At the end of the day, Lisa, do you have anything you want to say further about the Million Man March before we move on to the SNAP situation?
I mean, if you want to move on to SNAP, I'm ready.
Can I just say one more thing? I want to give thanks. I want to give thanks to Minister Louis Farrakhan, because bringing those men together the way he did has not ever been done, and probably won't ever be done again in life. So I want to thank him. I didn't grow up Muslim, but I love listening to that man speak. And I want to say this, because when that man is gone, who are we going to have? He is the only one that has been consistent in the uprising and uplifting of our people, where other leaders, they either have been murked off or they either fall by the wayside. So I want to thank that brother and tell him I love him for what he stood for and stand on and continue to do so, because he is old now. He won't be with us for very long. Who will be that next person to speak up and stand in the gap? That is the $1 million question.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. You're absolutely right about that. So with that all being said, that was something historic that will likely never happen again, as you said. Okay, so now let's talk about the SNAP situation. Judges say Trump administration must continue paying SNAP food stamp benefits during the shutdown. Okay, so 2 federal judges on Friday said the Trump administration must tap into the contingency funds to make payments for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program during the government shutdown, ruling against the government in a pair of suits over the imminent benefit lapse. Roughly 42 million Americans rely on SNAP to help buy food. Now, in a case brought by a coalition of states in federal court in Massachusetts, Judge Indira Talwani ruled that the government is required by law to tap into the emergency money to make at least partial payments, and give the administration until Monday to tell the court whether it plans to do so. Okay, so in Rhode Island, another federal judge granted a request for a temporary restraining order from a group of municipalities and nonprofits that sued to block the imminent funding freeze, according to attorneys from Democracy Forward, okay, the group leading the suit. Now, the ruling was made from the bench. An entry on the case docket said that the court orders the USDA to distribute contingency funds and report back to the court by noon on Monday. In her ruling, Talwani stopped short of ordering the administration to send SNAP payments on Saturday, but she rejected the government's argument that the $5 billion contingency fund cannot be used to fund benefits during the lapse in appropriations. At core, defendants' conclusion that USDA is statutorily prohibited from funding SNAP because Congress has not enacted new appropriations for the current fiscal year is erroneous. That's what Talwani said. Okay, to the contrary, defendants are statutorily mandated to use the previous appropriated SNAP contingency reserve when necessary, and also have discretion to use other previously appropriated funds. Okay, so in other words, they're going to have to go ahead and pay. And here's the thing. Now, Trump wants to end the SNAP program, in my opinion, because he flat out said the other day that there are some programs that the Democrats came up with that they wanted to cut, that the Republicans wanted to cut, Trump's administration wanted to cut, and he said now they're going to cut them and they're not coming back. Now, Lisa, did you buy the story? And I know you didn't, but what do you think about them trying to say that they couldn't use the contingency funds and all of that? Now, you knew that was BS. And so, do you feel like they want to just shut down the program altogether?
Yes, because that's in Project 2025 is to get rid of SNAP. That's in there. So no, that was intentional. He didn't want to use nothing. He was willing to let November 1st come and let those people, have nothing. And good that they're getting it, but it's temporary. But I still feel sorry for the federal workers. They got to go to food banks because they're not getting their paychecks. So it's almost like Donald Trump gets off on putting people in misery. This man is sick.
He really is. And I saw a guy in the military today did a video talking about how he wasn't going to be paid or whatever, anytime soon. And it's just disheartening. He was talking about, matter of fact, I'm going to bring up his video. Because Trump is crazy. And the thing is, what do you make of them trying to continuously, blame this on the Democrats? Because the Democrats don't want to agree to their terms because of the healthcare issue. And so they're trying to make everybody think that the Democrats are the reason they're not getting their benefits or the reason the government is shut down and all of this. But that's all of them. They're in control of everything.
Right. They got it. Yep, right. They got the presidency, the House, and the Senate. So there is nobody else to blame. I'm sorry. There is no one else to blame.
That's right. So they sound crazy sitting here trying to put out these false narratives that it's the Democrats' fault. And then, J.D. Vance came out yesterday, I think it was, and said the Democrats need to quit the charade and go ahead and let the government open back up. First of all, I'm sorry, but Trump's administration is the one playing charades.
There's something about this whole having to come in for work every day and knowing that I'm probably not going to get a paycheck here in the next 5 days or something, that really hits different. Not in a good way either, but I guess I can't get a side job or nothing, so I guess I'm going to try to start monetizing on here a little bit if I can. So if y'all could help a brother out, that'd be sweet, by just liking, sharing the video, and getting it out there and everything.
Now, I know he didn't say help a brother out. Okay. Now this reporter says that Trump is trying to starve people. Okay, even children. Let's go to it.
Years worth of funding available for the SNAP program, our tax dollars that we have already paid to the federal government to facilitate this program, and the Trump administration deleted this language from the website this morning. They are hiding the fact that not only is there more than enough funding to pay these benefits that we have already paid our tax dollars into, but that there was contingency language to ensure that even in the event of a government shutdown, that SNAP would go uninterrupted. The Trump administration and the Republicans supporting him are using food as a political weapon. This is a choice. They chose to delete this language. They are choosing to force children to go hungry.
Now that's a darn shame. So they deleted the language this morning, didn't she say? Now this is a woman who was pleading with Trump for her SNAP benefits. Of course, this is before she found out that they're going to have to pay them anyway. This was like 5 hours ago before the report came out about the judge's order.
She received SNAP as she is losing her benefits starting tomorrow, like so many. Cassandra, appreciate you making the time and being here and talking about this. Tell me more about your situation and how worried are you about SNAP benefits running out tomorrow?
Yeah, thank you for having me. So we're a family with a member who's disabled. We have a 2-year-old child. We are on Medicaid and disability and SNAP. We're worried. We were lucky enough to be able to put a safety net in place for ourselves because of our budgeting. But to go a month, especially a month with a Thanksgiving holiday in it, and not know where our food is going to come from in 2 weeks' time is a little scary.
Yeah, I see you smiling despite talking about something that's really hard. I really understand this. I grew up with a sibling with profound disabilities, and there was already the underlying stress of navigating that, let alone wondering about food and wondering about Thanksgiving. What worries you the most? What's keeping you up at night?
Honestly, being able to make sure that by the end of the month, when usually we have the safety net of SNAP in place, being worried that there's going to be a week, 2 weeks at the end of the month where we don't know where our meal is coming from, unless we're lucky enough to have our food banks still have enough food for everybody who needs it.
Yeah, that's really hard. And you know, we just heard from News Nation's Kelly Meyer aboard Air Force One with the president, asking him about the SNAP benefits set to expire tomorrow. She talked about how some folks are considering putting out canned goods for trick-or-treaters instead. And she asked the president, could you move funds around like you did for the military? The president responding by blaming Democrats. What is your message to the president as you're trying to figure out how to feed your family this month?
I would really enjoy if he could stop using the American citizens as political tools. The political theater that I've been watching this last year, not with SNAP, but with Medicaid also, it feels like psychological abuse. I'm not going to lie. I would like it to end. We all deserve food and healthcare, and we all deserve to know that our basic needs aren't hanging in the balance every day.
We see many states declaring emergencies over SNAP funding running out. They're trying to allocate millions of dollars to offset the lapse of federal benefits. They say they know it is a fraction of what will be needed. Let's listen together. This is some of what we're hearing from governors and officials around the country right now.
Yesterday, I announced the state will provide interim support for Iowa's food banks and pantries if the SNAP benefits end as expected.
We are gathered here from across the region because we will never back down from fulfilling the promise of the America our cities have fought to create. In our city, food isn't a bargaining chip, it's a human right.
360,000 Connecticut residents. I'm glad to see that the governor has put some money towards this effort. I think we all can agree that there's a lot more that needs to be done.
We are responding to the federal government's dereliction of its duty by declaring a state of emergency inside the state of Maryland. And I will use all powers vested upon me as the governor of the state of Maryland and immediately use my emergency authority as governor to surge $10 million to food banks and to food bank partners all across the state of Maryland.
This is all bad. There's no way to sugarcoat this. What is being unleashed on our people, not just here, but across the entire country.
So I know you're in Pennsylvania, and so many states are trying to provide support. They know it's not going to be enough. Are you confident that you're going to have what you need, especially in November and leading into Thanksgiving?
I will say confident, yes, but only because I am lucky enough, privileged enough to have a support network in place. If we need things, we have family, we have friends. I'm lucky enough to have an online community, people who are always willing to help me. I'm confident that we'll be okay, but the thought of millions of other Americans not having that same safety net is honestly the thing that just hits me the most.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our news.
Okay, But so fortunately, they are going to be able to get their benefits. And in my opinion, Trump was trying to keep that money for some other nefarious reasons, probably to put in his bank account. I don't know what he was planning on doing with it, but he and his administration knew that they could absolutely use those contingency funds to take care of the SNAP benefits and make sure they were dispersed. Now, I happen to think that them doing this right before November or right at the beginning of November, knowing Thanksgiving and Christmas are coming, I think they wanted to start a riot. I think they wanted people to start complaining, to go out and start stealing, breaking in stuff or whatever. And so Trump can try to, basically declare martial law. I just think that was all crazy, what he did. What do you have to say about OG Patrice? Do you think this was something that Trump, you know, or the timing of it for me? Okay, it was the timing of it right before Thanksgiving. You don't want to let people get food. You want people to be going without. Like, I just think
Yeah,
that he has some intentions behind that to make it, some kind of way trying to bring us to martial law. That's just my opinion. What do you think about that?
yeah, absolutely. And to your point, I think that we are living in a sad state of affairs in America where you have the American taxpaying citizens who pay into these things. These are taxpayers' money and funding already. The sad part is the contingency fund should have never had to be used had he did the right thing and release people's money and food stamps and things of that nature that are on disability and that are taking care of the disabled. Because when those contingent funds are for major disasters, like when we had COVID, when there's hurricanes and tornadoes and landslides. That's what those funds are for, emergency purposes. This should have never become that, right? So now, say if we have said situation in emergency and those funds are going to be used for that, then what they're going to say, well, the government ran out of funds. It shouldn't even never had to come to this point. And I'm so sick of both sides playing the name game, because that's all they're doing. And they're not getting anything done for the American people. Nothing. Because they're too busy blaming each other. And that's the part that I can't stand. It's like both sides know they have their faults and their flaws in this situation, but it's like, oh, well, if you don't agree with what I say, then I'm going to hold this back and I'm not going to do that. It's that game. It's petty. And it's hurting nobody but the American people again. And when you can give all of these resources to other people, when we live here, born here, raised here, work here, taxpaying citizens got to beg for the bare necessities, when we know that the average person do not have 3 to 6 months worth of living saved because of the way the economy is now. So no, it's ridiculous. Those emergency funds shouldn't have never even been an issue to come up where the judge had to literally order this man to release them through the contingency funds. Then if we have a national disaster, then where are those funds going to come from?
We already know how Trump gets down. You're going to have a judge to tell him to do anything, because he's not going to do anything that he's supposed to do unless it's something he actually wants to do. Now, Lisa, my question for you is, what do you think about Representative Clay Higgins telling the SNAP recipients to stop smoking crack?
First of all, do you remember back when they were drug testing anybody that was on SNAP? Because they were claiming,
I never knew that.
Yeah, they
I
did
never knew
that.
that.
Yeah, they were doing that actually back during Trump's first administration. They had to do like random drug tests. They found
I never knew that.
Yes, they found less than 1% of the people came up positive on a drug test. So people are not using no SNAP and all that for no damn drugs. These people just got to have something negative to say. That's already been disproven. They did not find hardly anybody that was using any assistance and putting it towards drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know any
exactly.
drug dealer, I don't know no drug dealer that accepts EBT. You know some that do?
Yeah, I never heard of such. They sound ridiculous.
Never heard of it in my life.
Well, that's because you know they always want to make us the poster child for everything nefarious. So they did that because they figured that our race of people are the ones that's mostly doing that and on said, illegal substances. So they make us the poster child of all those things, right? So and then they get surprised to say, oh, well, they really not, these type of people, and the numbers are low when the numbers are high in other communities. See, they don't want to talk about when it went over to the other communities and affected them. Then now it's sound the alarm, sound the alarm. Now you want to make laws and things pass, but when it came to us, it's lock us up.
And here's another thing too, as far as them having this in Project 2025, like you were saying, Lisa, another thing that I noticed in Project 2025 is they were talking about ending the summer and school meal programs. The plan that, that has the children eating during the summertime, people that are in poverty, impoverished communities or whatever, feeding the children during the summer. So they want to end that. That is absolutely nefarious.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, like I said, they didn't find hardly anybody. And they just, I don't know what it is. Donald Trump just wants to hurt people. That's all I see him doing in his position. That's all he wants to do. And I mean, just look at the state of this country. It seems like day between this time last year and this year. It's like a whole different country almost. And he ruined the economy with all those tariffs. Oh, the tariff is on, the tariff is off. And every time the man said the word tariff, prices went up. Gas prices went up. Prices went up.
He definitely
Yep.
did a lot of damage with that. And now China is, he went and had that meeting with Xi Jinping the other day, but he really didn't come back with anything because, as far as I'm concerned, you're in the same boat. Because now the only thing they really told him is that they're going to continue to buy soybeans from the U.S., but they also said they're going to buy them from Argentina. How much are they going to spend with the U.S.? Because before all of this trade war stuff started, they were spending billions of dollars with the U.S. You think they're going to be spending that kind now? I just have questions because Trump's a whole idiot. He was trying to bully those people. And then when he saw they wouldn't go for it, then he tried to change his tune. And he's acting like at the meeting, like him and Xi Jinping are such good friends. Like they have such a good relationship. That man was looking at him like he was crazy. He was looking at Trump like he was crazy at the end of the day. And all he's done is messed up and ruined the economy with those tariffs. They have not been beneficial. He keeps gaslighting and deflecting, talking about, oh, we're making money, we're getting rich. The only person getting rich is him because he's putting all that money in his pockets. He's greasing his palms, and people are giving him all these free things. He was supposedly giving some golden golf balls just the other day. So he's out here just making money for himself and his children. Okay, because I think they have made over $5 billion, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like Trump, I believe he literally got this presidency just to get his lick back off people. Any and everybody that was against him, said anything against him, didn't vote for him, didn't share his same ideologies and interests when it comes to politics and things like that. I think it's like he's getting his lick back to a lot of people, and he's specifically making Black and brown people pay for a lot of things, because when he tried to come in Chicago and other places, they was like, we want your over here, gone with that, because we know
what he's going to do. We already knew he was going to do all of this because Kamala said it 1,000 times. Now, here's the thing they say. The Trump family stake in WLF is a total of $22.5 billion WLFI tokens. Okay, when the token launched on public exchanges, its market price briefly gave the family's total holdings a notional value of approximately $5 billion. Okay, so the only one out here getting rich, like I said, is him. And he's trying to act like everybody's doing so good. No, everybody isn't. And he's making it even worse. And then why would you want to not give people their SNAP benefits when you know that there's money put aside for that? Acting like like it's illegal for him to do it. It's just all so crazy. He is just ruining this economy and ruining the whole country as far as I'm concerned. And but that's his whole job. Because like I've been telling you all for weeks, okay, that is his job, is to destroy America. That's what it looks like, and he's doing a good job of it.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you run off of the heartstrings and pull on the heartstrings of the Black and brown American people, and you cater to what you say is the working class people. See, that's what they always run on, right? Oh, they worry. Well, yeah, we want to make it better for the working class people. They're the fabric of this country, and da. But you are hurting said working class people, the same people that voted you in, that now it's hitting their homes, it's affecting them, and now it's like, oh, now they are some of the ones that are on TikTok and all of that's crime, right? But you paid for what you voted for, and that's the problem, right? Because they thought that, oh, he's going to look out for their best interest. He's not going to look out for no one's best interest but his own, line and hit the pockets of himself and the cronies that's sitting up there, that's being yes men and women to him. That's all. But they tear on the heartstrings of the American people, because we are the fabric of what makes this country great and what makes this country work.
Heartstrings, because nobody's listening to Trump. Whose heartstrings? MAGA's?
No, I'm saying the working people that voted for him, right? Like both sides do it, right? They do it. They do. Both sides do it. They run on those. But you hear those said people that are now moaning and groaning and griping.
Well, that's what I've been saying for the past months. Okay, let's go to this video. This guy said that Trump was probably trying to steal the money.
The SNAP program was defunded to hide the fact that this administration has taken the backup SNAP program funding and used it somewhere else. What we do know is that SNAP was supposed to continue on regardless of a government shutdown, because there was supplemental backup funds allocated just for SNAP. However, what happens if this administration, in the darkness of night, decided to reallocate those funds? Perhaps maybe that's how he was able to fund his birthday parade of $40 million. Perhaps maybe the $500 million that was used to paint the border wall was taken from the SNAP supplementary fund. Perhaps maybe the funds that were supposed to be allocated for SNAP aren't actually there anymore, and that's why the Tangerine Twat Waffle refuses to allow SNAP program to be funded beyond November 1st, because there's simply no money to actually allocate to it, because he's already reestablished all of that money to feed his ego or line his pockets, or I don't know, get another round of cheeseburgers on him because he wants everybody to love him. I don't know for sure, but SNAP programs were supposed to help the children of this country, and taxpayer money is what was used to fund the SNAP program, but yet the taxpayers aren't being heard, the children aren't being fed, and the Tangerine Twat Waffle isn't taking the Democrats' calls or trying to do anything to unite the country. He's only trying to divide. What if the
He called Trump a Tangerine Twat Waffle.
No lies detected.
Okay, I don't even know what that is, but hold on. Let me go to this next video. Ladybug said, not cheeseburger. Well, you know he loves fast food, specifically McDonald's, beloved.
Deserve to eat, fuck you. And I mean that. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to be more brand friendly on here, but fuck you. If you think food should be used as a weapon, double fuck you. Insane that that's a woke take. Oh, they're misusing it. I don't give a fuck. First of all, no, they're not. And if they were, I don't care, but no, they're not. Second of all, you think the people on food stamps are scamming you, and that's the problem? Not the big corporations, not the billionaires, not the tax system as a whole. Okay, you're smart. Using it to buy chips and soda. Bitch, that's what I'm using my money on too. What do you mean? You guys want to demoralize poor people so fucking badly. You like get off on it, and it's weird. Anytime I go to the gas station, I see a homeless person outside, I walk up to him and I'm like, hey, what do you want? Can I get you something from the store? Whatever. And sometimes they're like, oh, can I get a water and a sandwich? Absolutely. Sometimes they're like, can I get Doritos and a Coke and a Milky Way? Hell yeah, brother. Because you deserve a sweet treat just as much as any of us do, if not more. I bet you've had a shittier day than I have, and I have relied on chocolate for much less than you're going through. Some people need people to be so oppressed so they can feel better about themselves, and it is disgusting. They're us. We are all us. You know who's not us? The billionaires, and that's who you're bending over for. Weird. If you think...
Okay, so she didn't hold back. Now let's go to this last video.
Very interesting shift taking place as Trump rapidly ramps up his authoritarianism, and that is white people flipping the switch from capitulation to resistance. Let me explain what I mean. Since the end of World War II, the white community in America has enjoyed unprecedented wealth and opportunity as a result of a globalized American empire. And because of that, we have been less likely to buck against the system, even when we know that system is unjust, because the system has rewarded us so well. That's called capitulation. And these are broad brushstrokes here. I'm speaking very generally. The black community, on the other hand, because they have always been a target of the system, from slavery to Jim Crow to the war on drugs, they have always maintained a posture of resistance. And again, there are plenty of exceptions on both sides here. But what's interesting to see now is more and more white people, first of all, waking up, and secondly, taking risks to resist the Trump regime, taking to the streets in protest, directly confronting ICE officers, resigning positions of authority, and in our case, making a documentary that could cause us to get our tails sewed off or worse. But it's worth it, these acts of resistance. Jesus said it like this: what does it profit a man to gain the whole world yet lose his soul? Because we cannot be people any longer who go along with wicked systems just because they benefit us. There is a very interesting shift taking place as Trump.
Okay, Lisa, now what do you think about what this man said?
You know, what I think, to be honest with you, I think a lot of people have lost confidence in Donald Trump. You know,
Mhm.
I think the falsehood was a lot of people thought he was going to be like the first administration, and he is nothing like that. You can't even compare the two administrations at all. And nobody trusts him. I'm even seeing a lot of his own people. You know, I don't know if you were paying attention over on TikTok. Some of
Uh-huh.
these former MAGAs were trying to form this thing called a Purple Revolution
Yeah,
against
I did a video about it.
And I'm like, "No, first of all, I ain't joining nothing MAGA,
That's what
ex-MAGA.
I said.
I ain't joining no crap with them involved." But number 2, it just goes to show you the level of confidence that people lost. And look, to this day, did you remember when Donald Trump said that the federal employees that are furloughed don't deserve back pay?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, why don't they? Isn't that written there in their contracts? They're supposed to get that if it's a government shutdown?
Exactly. He doesn't care. And
No.
to your point about the Purple Revolution, I did a video about that. Basically saying F the Purple Revolution, because my thing is I'm not trying to unite with MAGA. Forget them. They voted for Trump because they thought that all the low down nefarious things that he's currently doing, they thought that was going to bypass them and only affect Black people and immigrants. They had
Right.
no idea. Even those Cubans, okay, even the Cubans who voted for him thought the same thing, because they've always been shown favor as far as them coming here. Okay, but now Trump has changed all of that. And so now all of them are looking crazy, and they're seeing that they're not getting what they thought they were going to get. So now they want to complain, and they want to have buyer's remorse, and they want the Black community to help them. You know, Bill Maher came out the other day and said that there was very few Black people at the No Kings protest. Well, of course there was. Okay, because this is y'all's mess, so y'all can clean it up. I'm not going out there and protesting. At the end of the day, we already knew what Trump was about.
Right.
And they
Yeah,
did too. But they just didn't think that what he was about, like I said, was going to negatively impact them. And now that they see that he's showing he doesn't care anything about them either, now they're upset. And like the guy was saying in the video, now they're starting to wake up. Well, why are they starting to wake up now? That's because they see that it's affecting them negatively. That's
absolutely.
why.
I
They're
agree,
used to being having
and that's
everything
why.
on a silver platter, and now they're not. Now they have to struggle. There's people who have their own businesses, like the guy who said he had a painting company and he hasn't been able to get any work. These people can't pay their bills. He's messed it up for the farmers. just costing everybody money, but yet yelling at the top of his lungs that we're getting rich, we're making money. He sounds so idiotic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where we come in, where we listen, we fought for every race of people there is on the face of this earth. And when it comes time to fight for us, we the only ones that they're standing for the most part. There's a few speckles here or there, but for the most part, we have fought for every other race of people to have rights for this and that and the other. So, and now it's time for Black people to realize that we need to sit some shit out sometimes and not get involved. Like, let them work it out. You know what I mean? So I'm glad to see that that's where a lot of us are waking up in that department, because we're tired of fighting for everybody else, and we always the last ones on the totem pole to never get anything. You know, so they thought it was going to affect our communities the most, but look who's the most on social media talking about it. Pay attention.
Yeah, they'll be all right. Miss Mississippi says Bill Maher can shut the hell up. He has made plenty of negative statements about Black folks. No, we are not getting out there. Exactly. Like, he can miss us with it. Yeah, he has made some negative comments. Didn't he call somebody a house ninja one time, or say that he wasn't one, or something like that at the end of the day? But
Yeah, and
so the
Ice
bottom
Cube
line
had to
is,
check him.
yeah, I know.
Ice Cube,
Yeah, I
Ice
remember that.
Cube
I
checked him.
thought I remembered that. Now, here's the thing. At the end of the day, they're going to be getting their benefits, okay, tomorrow. They're going to be getting their benefits, thankfully. So that should be a load off of some people, because I know a lot of people are stressed out. And at the end of the day, I just don't understand why the Democrats haven't done anything about Trump, because they actually said they were going to use Article 2 against him. Lisa, did you read anything about that?
You know,
They
vaguely.
said they weren't.
I'm just so disappointed in them.
Me
They're
too.
just too quiet. They're too quiet. No matter what he does, they just remain quiet.
Yeah. You know why I think that is? I think because they're complicit in it. I think that they don't have a problem with it, because a lot of them probably feel the same way. Like, that's just what it's given. Because other than that, why aren't you doing anything? Like, some
Right.
of them come out and complain, but they're not really putting any effort into doing anything to stop him, as far as I can see.
Yeah.
I'm totally disappointed in them, because I thought by now we'd have had, them trying to impeach him or something. But they said they weren't going to go that route. They were going to file Article 2. That was like 2 weeks ago, and I haven't heard anything since.
And what's going on with the Epstein files?
So, yeah, that's what I want to know. So far, Speaker Mike Johnson seems to be stalling on the confirmation of Grijalva, so that they won't get the 218 people that they need, so they can release those files. Now, he said he was going to stop the blocking, but we'll see how that pans out, because that's the thing right there. And they have also reported, I don't know if this is true or not, but it was said that the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, that was the day that they had said those Epstein files could be released.
Mhm.
And then I guess they got sidetracked after Charlie Kirk got killed. I mean, what happened with that? And now you got Johnson blocking it, like I said.
Well, Johnson is the one sending the Republicans home. You know that?
Yeah.
He done sent them home a couple of times. I said, yeah, see, right there tells you they ain't trying to negotiate nothing. They're just
That's
getting in
right.
front of the cameras trying to play like, oh, we're trying to negotiate. The Democrats aren't cooperating. No, you're sending everybody home.
Right. Yeah, it's all crazy at the end of the day. This whole thing is a mess.
And
It is
and honestly,
absolutely a mess.
that makes us the weakest link as Americans, right? When we see what's going on in our own country and the treatment of our people in our own country, that makes us the weakest link. That's why we the laughing stock when it comes to other countries. And will we be
We're not the
prepared?
laughing stock. We're not the laughing stock. Trump's the laughing stock. Nobody's laughing at Americans. They're laughing at Trump, because he's a whole
No,
idiot.
no, Well, I mean him and his regime, basically, right? And again, which can make us the weakest link when it comes to the way he disrespected the military with the things he said and things that he did, right? So when it comes to the disrespect that he gave him, because nobody wouldn't clap for him, nobody would, agree with the things he said. It was literally crickets in that room. What did he tell them? Oh, if you got a problem with it, walk out. But your benefits, your rank is gonna be reduced. Now, what president does that to the people that serve our country, that fight for our country? To hear the president of the United States say that.
Exactly. Michael says, that's right, Queen. Where are the Epstein files? Was creating as much aversion as you can. Yeah, that's exactly what Trump's trying to do. He's hoping that we've all forgotten about it, but nobody's forgotten about it, Trump. Okay, we still want answers. And that's another thing too. A lot of his people, they were very much so upset when they found out he wasn't going to release those files, because that's what he was running his campaign on, basically talking about he was going to release the Epstein files. And now he's done everything in his power to avoid it. And so, and here's my thing. He's talking about testing the nuclear testing, and then sat up there and lied and said that Russia and China was doing nuclear testing. Now, Lisa, did you hear about that report?
Yes, and actually Russia is doing nuclear testing. They actually put out a brand new nuclear bomb. I don't know if you saw it. The thing can circle the entire Earth in 15 hours.
That's why I'm saying that can make us the weakest link. Because would we be ready? Would we be ready for something like that in our military? Would we be ready?
Well, we already know we would, because we already know that Russia and China are probably better prepared for nuclear war than we are. China said they have one that within 20 minutes, it can just, obliterate everything in like 20 minutes.
Yes.
Okay, that's what they came out and said, but they also said that they had not been doing nuclear testing, and they're probably going to start now since Trump's come out talking about he's doing it.
Right. But now I wanted to say one more thing about that bomb. What they are doing is demonstrating they can send that bomb to any nation, anywhere in the world, and it can be there in a short period of time. So they've been doing the test, and the nuke actually circles the entire Earth in 15 hours, right? Now, here's the thing that's not good. It leaves radiation all over the globe. And many of us are inhaling that radiation from them testing bombs, and you don't even know it.
Right.
Radiation.
Now, here's a report that just came out about that. It says the United States is immediately restarting nuclear weapon testing, according to Trump. Because of other countries' testing programs, I have instructed the Department of War to start testing our nuclear weapons on an equal basis. That's what Trump posted on Truth Social on Wednesday, saying that process will begin immediately. Now, it is not clear whether Trump intends to test warheads or other parts of nuclear weapons, such as delivery systems, nor which countries he believes are testing their weapons. Now, the U.S., Russia, and China, the three countries with the largest nuclear arsenals, have not conducted full nuclear tests since the 1990s. Korea is the only exception. So the U.S.'s last full test was in 1992, although different types of experiments have continued in the decades since. Trump's announcement came just before a highly anticipated meeting with Chinese leader Xi Jinping, but it did not appear to feature on the agenda of their first in-person discussion this administration. So they say the Republican has displayed a long-running disdain for nuclear weapons and has supported non-proliferation. Trump said earlier this year that Russia had agreed to unspecified nuclear limits and that China was willing to follow suit. The U.S.-Russian arms limitation agreement, New START, is due to expire in February. Okay, so they say, but Russia has pushed forward with testing of weapon systems able to carry nuclear weapons. Putin said on Wednesday that the country had tested the nuclear-capable Poseidon torpedo just days after the country also said its Burevestnik nuclear-powered cruise missile had covered over 8,700 miles in a 15-hour flight test. Okay, that's the one you're talking about, Lisa. And then they say Russian President Vladimir Putin has said Russia will carry out a nuclear test if another country does so first. And senior Russian official also said the U.S. had been preparing for nuclear test. So the Kremlin on Thursday said Burevestnik and Poseidon test did not count as nuclear. They're saying these are not nuclear tests. They said, we hope that regarding the Burevestnik and Poseidon tests, the information was properly communicated to President Trump. That's what the Kremlin spokesperson, Dmitry Peskov, said after Trump's announcement. He said the U.S. already tests its nuclear weapons in similar ways. This is what Hans Christensen said. He's part of the nuclear experts team at the Federation of American Scientists, known as FAS. Now, he said this on Thursday. Now, the 1996 Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty prohibited all nuclear test explosions. The U.S. signed the treaty but has not ratified it, while Russia withdrew its ratification in 2023. But both sides would have to pull their signature if they no longer intend to observe the treaty. So they go on to say that Leonid Slutsky, the chairman of Russia's Parliamentary International Affairs Committee, said chaos would follow any resumption of U.S. nuclear warhead testing. Y'all hear this? Okay, please pay attention. Trump officials reportedly discussed restarting nuclear tests during his previous administration after accusing Russia and China of carrying out low-yield nuclear tests, which both countries denied. Now, the U.S.'s National Nuclear Safety Administration conducted an underground chemical explosion in Nevada this month to improve the United States' ability to detect low-yield nuclear explosions around the world. And this is according to the U.S. government. Now, the Department of Energy, which oversees the U.S. nuclear stockpile, is required to make sure the country can always carry out an underground nuclear test within 24 to 36 months of a president's order. Okay, so they're saying that these tests that Russia did, they said that doesn't count as nuclear testing. And then they said Trump lied on them.
Yeah, they actually launched those missiles. In fact, there's videos. You probably find the video.
Yeah, they did. They say they did that. They say they did that, but they said that is not considered as nuclear testing. That's
well, I don't believe that.
Doesn't make any sense.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Like I said, well, we could find out. I mean, if they were lying, it could be proven easily. But they said Trump also had lied when he was in his first administration and blamed China and Russia for also doing nuclear testing. And they're sitting here talking about basically it's going to be some problems and chaos if Trump starts having these nuclear warheads tested. Okay, that's what they're saying. So I don't know. They said those didn't count as nuclear tests.
Lord help us.
Miss Mississippi said these other countries have to have nuclear weapons to protect themselves against America. Look at what America is doing to Venezuela. I don't deny that. Okay, I don't deny that, beloved, at the end of the day. So they're saying they haven't done any nuclear testing since the 90s. That's their story, and they're sticking to it.
But meantime, there's recent launches of nuclear missiles that they were testing, but that don't count. Okay, that's very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what they said. Hold on, I'm going to do a little research real quick.
America got to stop being asleep at the wheel. And our fearless leader is just leading us over a cliff, sliding down an open wound.
Right. Now, here's what they say. I just looked this up. They said, no, testing nuclear missiles does not equate to nuclear testing. Nuclear testing specifically refers to the detonation of a nuclear weapon itself. Launching a missile that could carry a nuclear weapon is a routine test of a delivery system, not an explosive nuclear test. The two are distinct. One tests the delivery vehicle, the other detonates the nuclear warhead to test its functionality. With that all being said, that completely makes sense to me. And that's what I was thinking. Because the thing is, Trump is the one who wants to launch nuclear warheads. He wants to detonate these things. And that's why they said if he does do so, it's going to be problematic because nobody else is doing that. Nobody else is doing that. So
he trying to
and
start a
Trump,
World War III.
I don't know what he's trying to do, but they said he told the same lie back when he was in the first administration. They say there are specific events where a nuclear weapon is detonated to test its design and effects. This is what countries like North Korea have continued to do, while other nations have abided by a global ban on explosive testing. And that's what I'm saying. If they were lying, we could easily find out if they're lying. You just can't tell that lie and get away with it. I don't see how they could. But they said that North Korea has still been doing it, despite the global ban on explosive testing. And that would definitely leave radiation in the air if they were detonating these things.
Right.
Absolutely. So anyway, honey, we'll just have to wait and see how it all pans out. Mel said Trump thinks he's invincible. Invincible. Yeah, he does. He does. He thinks he can do whatever he wants, and there's not going to be any serious consequences. But there is going to be consequences. He's pissing off allies. He's stirring up trouble, and sitting out here telling all these lies. I mean, blatant lies that can easily be disproven. Okay, he's out here looking real crazy. Lady Medina said he's a madman. He absolutely is. Okay, no doubt about that, beloved. I absolutely agree. So anyway, with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. Lisa, did you have any last words, beloved, before we roll out?
Yeah. Did you get to see that interview that Steve Bannon did in the UK?
No, I didn't see it.
He was over there on British TV telling them that Trump will be the president in 2028. They already got plans on
yes.
to keep
I
him
didn't
in.
see the interview, but I read that, Lisa. It was in an article that I was reading on the other day on live. Yeah, and I told everybody that they said that. They said they already got a plan set in place. What do you think that plan is?
Either, one, because you were talking about war is one way to justify him, war breaking while he's a sitting president, because don't have no scruples. He has no problem with shedding other people's blood just so he can sit in it. Okay. That's how I feel about him.
Well, Lisa, I had actually told people that like maybe a month ago, I think, that Trump would likely try to start a war so that he can stay in office. So there won't be so he can suspend the election, but you really don't have to do that because we've always had elections regardless whether there was a war or not. But Trump thinks that he can just do whatever he wants to do. Did you know that back in 2020 during the pandemic that he actually tried to get them to postpone the election?
Yes. I remember that.
I remember. Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah, and then martial law could also keep him in there, and that's why I think that he was definitely, I think that he was definitely trying to have some chaos start, some civil unrest by not passing out the SNAP benefits, by not releasing them. I think he was trying to start civil unrest then, so he could declare martial law. I just don't put anything past Trump. It seems to me like he's been trying to invoke civil war since he got in office with all this crazy stuff he's saying. And then after Charlie Kirk's assassination, the stuff they came out saying, at that funeral, that was really a rally as far as I'm concerned. They were talking real crazy, talking about avenging someone's death and all this stuff. So I really think that's what he's probably going to try to do. Because what other plan could they possibly have that's already set? I mean, they're acting like it's set in stone too.
Yeah, and that's because he's trying to run this country like a dictator, right? We know that that's exactly what he's trying to do because he's trying to force. He's trying to force
Yeah.
things on the American people, right? And I don't know if you remember, Queen or Lisa, Trump did an interview. I forget what talk show it was on years ago, way before he even thought about running for president. And he was asked that if he would run for president, would he run as a Democrat or Republican?
Oh
And
yeah,
he
we
he
remember that. I think I showed
yeah,
that on the live before.
he said he would run against as a Republican, but he talked about them like a dog, about how dumb they are. And
Yeah, he
honestly,
said that.
it is those words have never been more prophetic than ever. So yeah, I just want to say that. Take heed.
Just anticipate said Republicans said yesterday that he can't do that because it will take 10 years to fix it into the Constitution, but you can't trust none of these politicians. Right. Because he's already literally come out of his mouth and said that if there was a war, you don't have to have elections. And I'm like, okay, when have we ever done that?
Right.
When has that ever been done in the United States? Never. Okay, not to my knowledge. We've always still had elections. But like I said, Trump thinks he can do whatever, whenever, and it doesn't look like anybody's stopping him at this point. The Democrats are just sitting over there like crickets and really not doing anything. They complain every now and then, but nobody is doing anything about this man, and he is just doing a whole bunch.
Well, one more thing I want to say, Queen.
Yes.
I'm going to send you a link to what's called a front porch concert. And
Okay.
you remember the singer Christopher Williams?
Yes.
He did a front
Yeah,
porch
I
concert. I'm
I
saying
saw
you,
that.
let me tell you, brother still got his voice.
Oh
He's
yeah,
still his voice. He sounds awesome.
yeah.
I'm a
Okay.
He always could sing.
Okay, yeah, please send me that, Lisa. Okay, so I appreciate you, beloved. I'm gonna get ready to wrap this up. They say Trump's officials. Hold on. Okay, I thought that was something else, but yeah. So anyway, they say the Pentagon estimates from last year. They said that China was on track to have more than 1,000 operational nuclear warheads by 2030. Although Western analysts say Beijing's stockpile would depend on how much plutonium, highly enriched uranium, and tritium it can access. That will be less than a third of what the United States and Russia each has. Okay, so we already know that China is ready because they already came out and said it. Okay, they already
Mhm.
told us that they're the only ones with that hydrogen bomb that can travel that fast. Like in 20 minutes, it can do all sorts of damages. Okay, I showed that video this morning. So Trump needs to really sit down somewhere. Mankind 777, beloved, thank you for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. And let me just tell everyone to please do your due diligence and make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. Because when I tell you that YouTube unsubscribes people every single day, okay, every single day, I'm not even joking. I've had at least 10 people emailed me in the past few days, like I told you all, saying that they were unsubscribed. Okay. And they're still unsubscribing people. So, with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I want to thank Lisa and OG Patrice for tuning in. And
Thank
thank
you, Queen. You're
all
welcome.
praises. And all praises to the Most High that these people are going to actually get their SNAP benefits tomorrow. Okay, Trump's going to have to come out of pocket. I'm inclined to agree with that young man who did the video, saying that he thought Trump was maybe trying to steal the money, because maybe he was. Maybe he was trying to keep the money for himself. Maybe he's already used it and he's going to have to put it back. Who knows? But I definitely think it was something nefarious, and we already know that he doesn't care about any of the people in this country other than himself. Okay, and his billionaire friends. And he doesn't really care about them. He just appeases them so that they can be used to get what he wants later on.
Absolutely. He turning his back on the people that voted for him. So he don't care about us. Absolutely.
Right. But that, sadly for them, they're going to have to learn the hard way at the end of the day. And this purple revolution, they're going to have to do that by themselves, because I am not here for any of it. Okay. You knew what
That
you were getting
part.
yourselves into. You just didn't know that it was going to affect you. And now y'all want to have buyer's remorse. Yeah, I'm good on that. Okay, so thanks everyone for tuning in. Everyone, please like and share, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to follow Lisa Cabrera if you haven't already subscribed to her. All right, enjoy your strong end, not your weekend, leave you in a weakened state of mind. And until next time, beloveds, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now.
That's
See
right.
a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy.
Real slick.
I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got